Now, we know we talk a lot about building affordable housing, but there's also a critical need to preserve existing affordable housing, especially for our seniors. People over the age of 50 are now the fastest growing group facing homelessness, but many are struggling with the rising cost of repairs, of insurance, property taxes. Well, Habitat for Humanity reports 19 million older adults live in homes that are in disrepair. So we talked to a local group stepping up to help while also facing mounting challenges.
I'm just overwhelmed. This is so much more than I ever expected.
Linda Reynolds feels like angels showed up at her house this Friday morning.
This morning, God descended upon my house in the form of Servolution. And he is repairing things that I have not had the ability to repair for years.
The 66-year-old bought this fixer-upper in Azle 11 years ago. She knew it needed work, but she thought she had time.
But I got hurt on the job and lost my employment.
Over time, she became overwhelmed by the needed repairs, especially the leaking roof.
I would have 10 inches of water.
After chipping away at her savings, running out of options, she asked for help.
I dropped my pride. I walked into church on Sunday morning, and after service, I asked, who's in charge of Servolution? I need to talk to them.
And how to build this one better.
That would be Jason Malewiski.
So our whole purpose in life is pretty simple. Love God, love people, and restore hope.
The husband, father of 5, who works full-time at Lockheed Martin, while also leading this nonprofit that, among many services, handles major repairs for seniors, veterans, people with disabilities, and single moms.
We help folks age in place. So now in 2026, we see a trend where insurance is a luxury, not a requirement. So a lot of people are having their roofs lapsed. They have leaky roofs, foundation shifting, siding decaying on their houses. They need, as they age, they need wheelchair ramps on their homes to get in and out of their house.
What he sees in Tarrant County reflects a much bigger issue researchers are tracking nationwide. Most older adults live in housing built before 1980.
We worry about older adults who are, as you noted, living on a fixed income, especially in this moment when cost of repair, both supplies and the workforce, those costs are increasing.
I interviewed Samara Sheckler, a researcher with Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies. Her team analyzes what's being called the dual burden of housing and care. She says the majority of older adults are not able to afford both their housing costs and care costs at the same time.
If an older adult can't afford to maintain their home, because that can have really serious implications. So from an economic perspective, we know that home equity is the largest source of wealth for most older adults, and unmet repairs can chip away at that equity. Unmet repair needs can also have health implications. So we worry about fall risks from loose railings or steps. We worry about mold, for example, that might aggravate a cardiovascular condition, among all kinds of other issues. Poor home condition can ultimately aggravate isolation because people might be uncomfortable about the condition of their home. They may not be inviting their family and community into their home.
And just as Malewiski noted,
in many places around the U.S., but especially Texas, Florida, and California, homeowners are increasingly having a hard time keeping up with those skyrocketing insurance costs.
A recent Lending Tree report shows 17% of homes in Texas are uninsured, jumping 7.1% between 2023 and 2024. More homeowners are taking the risk, but when disaster hits, many struggle to find support.
I think it's important to note that we do not have in this country a comprehensive federal repair assistance policy. What that means is that all residents have to rely on a patchwork of regional programs. And this patchwork can leave a lot of gaps, and a lot of the programs are too small to help many or the majority of the applications they receive.
Like Servolution, which has a wait list of 30 homes, but works feverishly to close the gap even as costs rise.
Fundraising is really hard as a nonprofit, and I'm going to focus a little bit on post-COVID, right? The price of a 2x4 has tripled, and that just goes exponentially for every other material that we need to help these homeowners stay in place. So we desperately need sustainable monthly donors to help execute a program like this. Many programs have shut down, it's shifted focus. So it's really hard, but we are doing it, and God is making a way.
All of this siding that's up here.
Reynolds Home is their 400th project in 10 years, and one of 17 crews transformed simultaneously in a Good Neighbor Blitz weekend, a huge effort they pull off every 6 months. Checklists for each home show how they make it happen with the help of volunteers. Donors.
Through organizations like Christian Brothers, the Home Depot Foundation, they lean in pretty heavily to help us, and we're so blessed.
They do more than repair homes.
In a world today where everything is dark and negative, we have an opportunity to really shine our light for Jesus.
Lifting the burden of repair has given Reynolds room to breathe and dream again. She's always wanted to open her home to young girls to teach sewing and gardening classes. A dream once seemingly impossible, now in reach.
I'm just so thankful.
The Federal Road to Housing Act includes a pilot program that would offer grants and loans to moderate to low-income homeowners and landlords to help stabilize our nation's aging housing stock. Now, the bill so far has passed the Senate, but it still needs to go through the House. I've put a list of local repair programs inside of the story for you on NBCDFW.com.